makes up the majority. I think it's more that the real growth for most of our German companies is not just coming from Eastern Europe. It really is coming from the BRIC region, where Russia is part of it, but actually China is very strong, and there is so many areas where German exports are doing very well. But the reality is 60% of our exports, and people tend to forget about this, actually go to Europe. 60% of German exports go to Europe. And the level of China for Germany as a whole is the level of the UK, just to put that into perspective. So people think that China will save us. Well, I doubt that, because the UK won't save us either, if they have a wonderful program there. So if you think about the stats and you really look at the facts, the likelihood of us suffering because European entirety is suffering is very high. And this is why my view on German cyclicals is such that I'm afraid that that is currently more of a value trap than already value. And we're getting to valuation levels which look appealing, but I'm afraid there is a peak margin situation, because we see, and I'm a big fan of sentiment indicators, and also the US has this wonderful way to say this. It's the economy, stupid. When you see that the economy is tanking, and you see this in all these European countries other than Germany, it's going downhill so quickly. And then you think about the fact that in France you've got 56.5% of the gross national product coming from the state, and they can't spend any more, they have to spend less, because the market will force them to do so. They have to save. So that's going to come down maybe by 3%. So is that going to be compensated by the private companies, by more consumption? How? I don't see this. So how likely is future strong growth in Europe? I don't see that very likely. So my view is this whole thing about new normal, it's happening as we speak. We'll see less growth. We might even see several quarters of negative growth, and the earnings projections are high. So I think we have more of a peak margin situation, and many people out there, probably most value investors, feel the same way that I do. They understand that it looks all good, but if you think about peak margins and then the resulting multiple contraction, because people will then shy away and say, oh, now the earnings are falling, so I will only pay less of a PE, and so you get the double whammy. So my view is it's still time to wait and hang on to some cash and kind of drip feed into the market, and only very opportunistically go and bite the bullet if there is a huge disappointment and you see large volume coming in and eventually drying out, and that was pretty much it, and that's a good entry point. So yeah, you still have to be prepared to do average down, but in the end, that's when you should take a decent position, but not going broadly into it right now. I don't feel comfortable doing that.